Hello everybody, this is Mrs. Nielsen. Today I'm doing an art project, another art project. This one's a pot of flowers. So today you are going to need a piece of paper. Now I found a thicker piece of paper today, like a piece of cardstock. If you have a thicker piece like that, that would be great. If not, just a piece of printer paper will work also. You are also going to need some tissue paper in whatever colors you can find. As you can see, this one's pretty wrinkly. We've recycled it. I'm sure it was in a present at one point. And I've already prepared some of my tissue papers, so I'll show you how to do that. So you may need a dish or a baggie to put your little tissue paper squares in. You are going to need a pencil, an eraser, some colored pencils, and then a black marker to outline. Oh, and a pencil sharpener if you need one, and glue. I wouldn't suggest using a glue stick. It probably won't work very well with the tissue paper. I would suggest using liquid glue. Alright, let me get set up. One moment. So I have my piece of paper right here, and I am going to start by drawing a flower pot towards the bottom. So here's the bottom of my page right here. I'm just drawing a regular terracotta flower pot. You can do a square flower pot if you'd like. You can do more of a vase if you want. It's totally up to you. But I'm going to do a flower pot, and I think I want the bottom of my flower pot about this wide. That's about a third of my page this way. 1/3, 2/3, 3/3. That's how big I'm making mine. It's totally up to you how big you want yours. I'm going to put a little dot over here and a little dot over here so I know where I want my flower pot to start and end on my page. I'm doing the bottom of my flower pot first. Our flower pot shouldn't go straight across because that wouldn't look like a 3D object. We're going to make a curved line, and as you can see, I make little lines as I go across. I don't make one big dark line until I can decide if my shape is good. Okay, so I like that shape, so I'll go back in with a darker line. It was a little crooked, that's okay. We're going to be covering it with Sharpie anyways. Next, my flower pot's going to go up, but not straight up. It will be out to an angle a little bit like that. So I'm going to make a line on this side. I want kind of a shorter pot, so I'm probably going to stop about right there. I want my pot to stop at about the same level on the other side. Now, this side of the pot won't angle this way. That would make it crooked. It will also angle out. Okay, so I'm going to take my pencil and make little lines outward. And I think this side might be a little bit taller, but I can check by moving my pencil up horizontally. It's just a tiny bit taller, so maybe I'll make this side a little bit. There we go. Now let me darken this line just a bit for you to see. And then on this side. Okay. And it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. If it's important to you to have it perfectly straight, you can always use a ruler. Now, I'm going to make another curved line like this one, but right up here. It's going to be wider than this portion of my pot because this is the lip. So I'm making a curved line across like that. Maybe like that much wider, just a little. About that much on this side too. Now let me fix up that line. Okay, there we go. Now, we need to finish up the lip, so that also will not go straight up. It will be slightly angled out. So I'm going to draw a little line angled out like that, and a little line on this side angled out. Trying to get it as close to the same height as possible. As always, if I'm going too fast, go ahead and pause the video. Now between these, I'm going to make another curved line all the way across, like that. I like the shape of that, so I'm going to make it a little bit darker. Alright, there we go. Now this next part you should do very lightly because we will be erasing part of it. We are going to make another curved line, but this one up this way. We are going to have a curved line up, kind of like this. That one was too curved, so I'm going to do another one. That's why I went really light. There we go. That's a lot better. And I'm going to make mine dark so that you can see it. You should keep yours pretty light in case you need to erase any for the stems. Okay. Now, if you mess up, that's all right. Just go in with your eraser, fix it up a little bit. There we go. Okay, now we are going to add flowers to our flower pot. So I like to draw the flowers and then the stem, because if you draw the stem first, you might spend all this work on the flower and then the stem doesn't line up very well. So I'm going to draw my flowers first. So I think I'm going to, let's see, I have orange, yellow, and white, so maybe some of them will look sort of like sunflowers, maybe some of them won't. I'm just inventing flowers. I'm going to just do a nice easy circle. I want my flowers about this big. You can make them bigger or smaller than mine. It won't make a difference. So make yourself a circle. If it's not perfectly round, that's totally fine because most flowers aren't perfectly round or perfectly symmetrical. Okay, so I kind of have a little bit of a circle there. This flower, I want to have big rounded petals. So I'm doing big rounded petals like this. All the way around. You don't have to do your petals like this. You can do a different kind of flower. But I want this one to look like this. Okay. Now I'm going to do another flower right here. This one I'm making even bigger because I want this one to be a sunflower. Okay, so sunflowers have a little bit pointier petals, but they're not complete triangles, so I actually want it to have a little bit of shape like that. Okay. And I'm going to keep drawing those all the way around. And some of them aren't the exact same size as the rest, and that's fine. This little one right here. Alright, now, I didn't really like that petal, so I'm just going to erase part of it and fix it. You can always do that. There, that's better. Now sunflowers actually have multiple rows of petals, so I think I want to add some in between this also. So I will start about right here, and I'm doing the same thing. It's just behind those petals. Okay. That. If you're having a hard time making this shape of petal, just imagine in your head you are making an S, like a really slight S. See, I just made a very, very slight S like that, and then I do one the other direction, like a backwards S. So, very slight S, and then a backwards S. Let's see. If you want, you can do a third row. I'm not going to. Oh, whoops, I already had one there. It's okay if you make mistakes. That's why we have erasers to help us. All right, now, Now that I added a second row of petals on this one, I'm wondering if this one could use a couple extra behind as well. So maybe I'll add a few extra in some places. Just where it looks like it needs some. Like that. And then one more. Right there. There. I think that looks a bit better. Alright, now I'm going to make another flower. Since my flowers are pretty big, I'm probably going to get some flowers overlapping, and that is totally fine. We just need to decide in the beginning which ones are going to be in the front. So the first flowers you draw will be closest to you in your portrait, in your painting, coloring, whatever it is. So I have another flower right here. There's the center of it. I made that one a little bit smaller. As you can see though, I don't really have enough room for the petals all the way around. See, this one's in the way. That one might be in the way. Depends on how big I make them. That should be just fine though. This time I want some longer, skinnier petals like that. So I'm going to go around. We'll add one here. This one we're definitely going to have to come back in and add more petals in between. Alright, now as I start getting close to other objects, here I don't like that petal, let's take it off. As I start getting close to other flowers, we have to keep in mind that we don't want to trace over them. So right here, I'm going to stop my pencil right there and just imagine where the rest of the petal goes. Again here, I stop my pencil, finish the petal on this side. Again here. Some of my petals are looking a little wiggly, that's alright. Once I add more petals in there, it'll start to look like it's evening out. Let's see, back here I'm going to do a petal. One here. There. You can jump around. I just decided to add some petals down here at the bottom. Can't really see those ones very well. They're basically behind this flower. Do some more over here. Okay, and you can keep adding some if you want, or you can take a look at it and fix it up. I think maybe this petal right here is too short, so I'm just going to erase the tip of it, and I'm going to make it a little bit longer. That's a little better. Alright, now you can add as many flowers as you want, or as few as you want. It's totally up to you. Let's see, I think now I need a tulip. Now a tulip, you're just going to draw like a cup shape. I'm doing it over here. So I'm drawing kind of like a U. I'm drawing like a U shape, and I made mine a little crooked so it's facing that way. And you are going to draw a line down here, a curved line, and another one down that way, like that. Then you're just making more peaks. Like that. Okay, so that's one way you can draw a tulip. Let's see. Maybe I'll do a small flower down here. I want it to have petals like that. Now, if your drawing isn't perfect, that's okay, because a lot of this is going to be covered by tissue paper. Okay, so we're just making kind of a template for us to glue tissue paper on. I like that. I think I'm going to stop there, except I'm missing stems. So I'm going to go to my flowers that are in front. So this one's in front, that one's in front. Not my flowers that are behind like this one. So I'm starting with this one, and I want kind of a curved stem into this pot, into this flower pot. So if it goes straight down, that is just fine too. I just like mine a little bit curved, so I might start my pencil right here. I'm drawing a curved line, slightly curved, right down into the pot. And I go back and I add another line, also straight back down. Okay. I also think this flower might be towards the front too. It's not overlapping with anything, so it can be towards the front or towards the back. It's up to you. Oh, I made that stem a little skinnier. That's okay. Now, maybe this one's next. There we go. This one will go sort of straight down, and that's fine. This flower is next. That one's in the very back, so I can't do that stem next, just in case the stems overlap. Here, I think they will. I'm going to start my stem right here, but it's going to go behind this flower that I have. So you can either stop, or you can very lightly draw through so that you know where the stem starts again. So I'll have some stem there and there. Lightly through, there we go. Now I do my other line. Now sunflowers have thick stems, so I'm making this one a lot thicker, and it would go through my flower and come out about right here. Okay. Now I have one more stem. If I draw this one down, it's going to overlap with the stem I already have. Since this flower's behind that one though, I need to make sure that I don't draw through that other stem. Okay. And it's also behind this stem, so I'm not drawing through that one also. Now I do have the line from the flower pot, the rim of the flower pot, that is going through my stems, which I don't want. So I'm going to go in with my eraser and take away those lines. Just a bit. We'll be erasing more lines later, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, now this is when you would add any sort of leaves that you want to add. Maybe I'll do a leaf right here. I'm going to do a curved line like that, and then maybe another curved line back. There are lots of ways to draw leaves though, so it doesn't have to look like that. Maybe on this one I want a fatter leaf like this. And I'll draw a line down the middle. Maybe I need another leaf on this side. Okay, and a line down the middle. Alright, and then maybe this one needs a small leaf. Alright. Oh, I'll do one more over here. One more skinny leaf. There we go. Okay, that's probably enough leaves. You can add as many or as few as you want. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my colored pencils, and I need to color everything except for the petals. Okay, the petals we are going to do with tissue paper. If you also want to do tissue paper in the centers of the flowers, that is fine. That's fine too. So if you are just doing tissue paper petals, you color everything on here with colored pencils except for the petals. If you want to also do tissue paper in the centers of your flowers, then don't color the petals or the centers with colored pencil. You'll just color your stems and pot. That part is up to you. It's going to look kind of, here, let me show you what it looks like. It'll have a little bit of a texture. So in just a minute, you're going to make some tissue paper squares, and we will put them on the end of our pencil to squish them up. And then we're going to glue them in places. So it will stick up from your drawing. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and color these. I'll be back. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you guys, before I color, I am going to go back in with a black marker and I'm going to trace all of my lines that I'm going to be, for things that I'm going to be doing colored pencil on. So since I'm going to do tissue paper for my petals, I won't even bother using Sharpie on those. It'll just get covered up anyways. But everything that I will be using colored pencil on, I'm going to go back in and trace black lines over, just so it looks nice and clean. And then I will erase my pencil marks, okay? So I'm tracing everything that I'm not doing tissue paper on. I think I'm going to trace the center of my flowers. Since I'm just going to color the centers of my flowers, I'm not doing tissue paper on those. Okay, so just go ahead and trace everything with your black marker. Go ahead and pause the video if you need some time to do that. And I'll see you in a minute. Alright, welcome back. So, I just colored in my pot, the stems, and the centers of my flowers with colored pencil. As you can see, I colored a little bit darker on the outer edge of the flower centers, and then the sunflower has a dark spot in the middle. I also didn't follow the lines very closely when I was coloring anything next to spaces where there will be tissue paper, because it'll just get covered up anyway. It doesn't really matter. So let me show you how to get your tissue paper prepared. I just have a piece of orange tissue paper here. It is folded in half once. That works fine, or you can unfold it completely. Totally up to you. We are going to be cutting basically 1-inch squares, but the thing is, it doesn't have to be exact. It really doesn't matter. So if I have my tissue paper, I'm going to start cutting about this far in. Maybe that's like, not even half my thumb. And I'm cutting a kind of straight line all the way to the end. And it really doesn't matter if it's straight or not. See, I got a lot skinnier at the end. It doesn't matter, because once we start gluing these on, you won't even be able to tell. All right, now I'm cutting 2 strips at a time right here. I'm just going to go in and cut a bunch of squares like this. And I will fill my jar. Okay, so I have my tissue paper right here. And I'm cutting squares. They don't have to be exact, like I said. I'm just going through and getting as close as I can to squares. And I am using these 3 colors because that's what I had. So if you have other colors, like pink, purple, blue, whatever, you can make your flowers those colors. Alright, so I have orange, yellow, and white. Okay. And I am going to go through now and start gluing on. So let me show you what that would look like. You're going to want to start with one of the flowers towards the front. Okay, and you'll choose a color. I think I'm going to start with my sunflower because my petals are nice and big on that. Okay, so I'm going to do, you can do yellow or orange for a sunflower, it's totally up to you. I'm going to start with yellow, but what you're going to want to do is you have your liquid glue. I'm using Elmer's liquid school glue. You'll open it up, and you are going to fill in a petal. Okay, so what that looks like is I'm going to squeeze a little bit of glue out, and then I stop squeezing, and I spread that around until that petal is filled. Okay, maybe I'll squeeze a little more and then spread it around. I'm just spreading it around with the tip of the bottle of glue. So I have glue right here on this petal now. I'm going to take my one square of yellow and I'm putting it on the end of my pencil, just sort of squishing it around. Okay. And then I can stick it on that petal like that. So I'm doing it again. Here I have my square. Squish it around the end of the pencil, hold on to it, and then stick it down. You're going to want to pack these in as tight as you can. It will look nicer. So here we go again. Square. Squished onto the end of my pencil. Squeeze it in there. Glue it down. Okay. So you're going to do that all the way around for all of your petals. Oops. There we go. All right, now that I see this, you can probably fill several petals at once with glue, if you'd like. And you can always go back in later and fill in empty spots. So I squeeze a little bit and then I spread it around with the tip of the glue. I'll fill these. You don't need a ton of glue. Pencil and just stick it down just like that. And in my pencil, stick it down. Okay, just pack them in a little bit like that. I'm just going all the way around. It might take you a little bit, that's okay. Take your time. Just filling it in. This might even be a 2-day art project for you because it is going to take a while to fill all of these petals in, but it will look so pretty when we're done. And see, it doesn't even matter that so many of my pieces were not squares or they weren't the same size. It doesn't matter at all. I'm just going through and gluing them on and it just adds texture. So since we're using paper, tissue paper, pencil, color pencils, marker, this is a mixed media project. That means that we are using multiple things to make our project. So a single media project would be if you just drew a picture with pencil. But a multimedia or a mixed media project means that you add in other things. Now it is April. Mother's Day is next month, so kids, this might be a good project to make for your mom since you won't be making anything at school. And this is also a good project because a lot of us have tissue paper just on hand, so it might not be something that you have to go to the store for. Hopefully not, because you might just have tissue paper on hand from like gift wrapping supplies. So I'm going to go ahead and pause my video here. You can go ahead and pause it and fill in your shapes. I'll come back as soon as this flower's done. Hello, I am back. I just finished gluing on my yellow petals. And we have Taylor back here. She's trying out the project too. So I'll let you know what hers turns out like. Okay, let me get set up again. So now I take back what I said. I shouldn't have started with the flower closest to me. I should have started with the furthest away flower so that our tissue paper could overlap. But that's okay. No big deal. I've already done it now. So now I just need to choose another color. And I'm going to do this one back here. If you're trying to decide which color to do where so that you don't have the same color next to each other, just put a tissue paper like in the middle of the flower just to help you plan. Let's see, so I could do that one white maybe. See, orange would be right next to orange. Maybe I'll do this one orange and then this one white. Nope. Yellow. Oh, there we go. Here, I'm liking this. Okay. I think I like it like that with just one orange flower, a white one, white and yellow. Okay, here I go. That was just to help me plan it out a little bit, which I probably should have done in the beginning, but it's okay. All right, now I'm going to move on. If you're doing a flower that has long, skinny petals like this, you can either use our first method and you'll just have a fluffy flower, or what I decided to do is I think I'm going to try this and see how well it works. I'm going to put glue on one petal. Squeeze it a little, rub it around. Okay, one petal. I'm going to take one and just kind of sloppily roll it up. It doesn't have to be nice and neat at all. I just rolled it up like a little burrito. I'm just going to stick it right there. It might come unfolded a little. That's fine. We'll just squish it down, and we'll be gluing so many petals on here that it will overlap and cover it up. Okay, roll this one up. Maybe I'll do a petal over here. Give them a little space. Alright. I know the white might be a little bit hard to see. Like I said, you can use any color you want, so you don't have to use the colors that I'm using. Okay, just like that. Now I'm just going to keep going all the way around. Some of these squares are smaller than others, so some of these petals will be shorter than others. It's totally fine, doesn't really matter. Okay, so you'll just keep adding petals all the way around. Now the reason why I should have started with the flowers towards the back is once I start to get closer to this flower, it's going to be harder to tuck petals in behind it. It's okay though, I'll do my best. I might just have to trim a few of our little pieces. Okay, so see, I have it all rolled up. Alright. Let's see. I'm just rolling it a couple times. Just like that. Okay, now that I'm close to this flower, I'm going to need to trim some to try to fit them in underneath it. I'll do the best that I can. But like I said, unless you've already done it, do the back flowers first. Okay, there. So I just cut this in half to make it a smaller piece, and I think that's going to work. Squeeze it in there. There we go. Yep. All right. I will see you in a couple minutes when this is all filled out. Feel free to pause the video so that you have time to do this. All right, here we are. I finished adding my white petals all the way around. I like the way that it looks, except this inside edge. I think I'm going to do our first method and add some petals on the inside edge right there to cover up some messy areas here. So I'm putting a little bit of glue there on just part of it for now. Putting my square on the end of my pencil and sticking it down. There we go. I'm pushing them away from the center. I think that will look nice. All right. About halfway down with that. Let's set the other half. If you start getting pieces unrolling, try to push them down, maybe add a little more glue, or put another petal right on top of it. The reason why I'm not using the pointy end of my pencil to wrap these around is because it leaves graphite. It leaves the stuff inside your pencil on your artwork, so your tissue paper would look all dirty. There we go. Just about done. Sometimes I do have to use the tip of my pencil though, just to hold it down for a second. If you have to do that, just be nice and careful. All right, there. I think that looks a little bit better. Okay, so now I can move on to my next flower. I think I'm going to do this one next. And since this one has the wider petals like our sunflower, I'm going to go and use our method of putting the square on the end of our pencil, and I will fill it that way. So go ahead and fill your next flower. And like I said, I squeeze a little bit of glue and I spread it. So go ahead and do that. All the way around this flower. If your tissue starts sticking to the eraser on your pencil, like mine is, you might have some glue on the end of your pencil, which is making it get stuck. Okay, so try to rub off that glue and keep going. Alright, so just go all the way around your flower, just like the sunflower. Alright, here we go. So here's what I changed while I was gone and what I finished. I finished putting the yellow petals on here, and then I decided that my sunflower needed some orange. So I went back in and I found spots that looked kind of empty, and I added some glue and just stuffed another piece of tissue paper in there. I think that the orange and yellow looks good together. Maybe next time though that I do this, I would start with both orange and yellow in the beginning. Now I'm going to move on to my tulip over here. This one we're doing a little bit differently. What I'm going to do is take some of my white squares, and I'm actually cutting them smaller, maybe in half. I'll need some smaller pieces. I'm using a few, maybe 10 or more. You can always cut more if you need. But what I'm going to do on this one is let's see, I'm actually going to mix in a couple of yellow ones too, because I want it to be a light yellow. So I'm going to cut a couple of these in half. So I'm using yellow and white. That'll make it a light yellow, hopefully. Okay, so this one, tulips are usually pretty smooth looking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to squeeze my glue a little. I have like 4 dots on there, and I'm spreading the glue around as long as I'm staying within the lines. Maybe add a little more glue and spread it around. So I'm filling my whole flower with glue, but I'm being very careful to just keep it within the lines. And I'm spreading it out. Okay, there we go. Now, I'm just going to take these pieces of tissue paper, and I'm just going to stick them right on there, flat. Okay. So there's one. I might have to cut some of these smaller or at angles. See, I cut that one at an angle so that I can fill in this shape with color. I'm doing the yellow first so that you can see it. And then I'm going to go back in with white on top of that to make it lighter. Alright, cut that piece smaller. Okay. And you're just trying to find pieces that will fill this in, and we are overlapping a bunch, and that's okay. Tissue paper is very thin, so I think I have like 4 layers here in the middle, and that's fine. It's still going to stick. I'll have to add some more glue in a minute probably. Maybe I will cut a curve to fit right here. Okay. Oh, sorry, the cat's joined us. Here he comes. All right, now I'm going to fill in this side. I think I soaked up all of the glue, so I'm adding a little bit more on the white spots. Maybe one more little yellow piece right there. Oh. There's the cat. He is chewing on things now. Hi, Bentley. Say hello. Alright. Here we go. Let's continue. Okay, so I filled it pretty much all the way with yellow. I'm going to add a little bit more glue because I want to do white on top of this to make it look like a light yellow. Hopefully it works. I may have even cut too many pieces. We'll see. This time I'm starting at the top to fill in those tips. And the cat's sitting on our painting. Okay, thank you, Bentley. Cut a few smaller pieces. Okay. There, I think it's looking like a light yellow. couple more little pieces. So I'm doing this one flat, like I said, because I want it to look smoother, not so fluffy like the other ones. You might find this one to be easier. Maybe you'll think it's harder than the other methods. Excuse me, cat. Bye. Go away. Okay, we're free. I'll add a little more glue over here. Maybe I made it too light. We'll see. Maybe I'll add another piece of yellow. You can mix and match. It doesn't matter. Maybe you just want to put a few pieces on there, not as many as me. That is just fine. There, I kind of like that. Let's see how this one last piece looks. Maybe this way. Now your fingers are probably going to get a lot of glue on them. That's fine. I'm adding a little bit more to make sure that this is all glued down. It will soak through the tissue paper, which is what we want. There we go. All right, so I have one flower left. This is the one that I said I was going to do orange. So you have an option. You can use our first method where you put the tissue paper on the end of your pencil. You can use our second method, which is where we roll it and then glue it down. You'll probably have to cut the squares in half to do that one since this flower is smaller. Or you can do our third method where you just cut small pieces and glue them flat on there. So it's totally up to you. I am going to roll mine and glue it down. I think that I would like one more of that kind of flower petal. So you can either roll the whole square up and then cut it in half like I just did, or you can take a square and just pre-cut it and then roll it. Up to you. Either way works pretty much the same. There we go. And you're just going all the way around. Alright, I will see you in a minute as soon as I have finished gluing these. Alright, there we go. I finished gluing on my last orange petals right there. So now my drawing is done. Here is where you can customize it a little bit more if you'd like, though. If you have different colors of these, you could glue them all over the pot to make it look like mosaic tiles if you want. You can add designs on here with colored pencil. Totally up to you. Add more flowers. What else can you do? You can write your name on it. Sign it like an artist would. Let me know if you have any questions, though, and I would love to see your artwork. I'm going to let this dry. Let me lift it up so you can see. I think it turned out cute. I'm going to let this dry, then I'll post a picture of it. Alright, have a good day. Be safe. Like I said, let me know if you have any other questions. Keep busy, too.